10 months ago, I spent $10,000 of my own money buying the most futuristic tech products from Kickstarter. But because it's Kickstarter, only half of them actually arrived. The other half have ended up a combination of companies who've clearly run out of money trying to build their products, or just straight up scammers who are trying to rob people. We'll get to that. But the question is, are the products that did arrive so incredible that it was still worth paying that insane amount of money to Kickstarter? Or are they actually just a kick in the teeth? Kicking things off with the very cheapest one, the roll order, and I can't actually believe this. I backed this product thinking, oh cool, a decently fast charger with a 90cm retractable cable baked inside of it, so you can always have everything you need without the cable taking up extra space or getting tangled in a bag. I paid around $40 for this, and I got nothing. If you back a product on Kickstarter, there is no guarantee that you receive that product. And you're probably thinking, Aaron, it's right here. Like, what are you talking about? This is the crazy part. After 9 months of hearing absolutely zero from this company, which, by the way, is enough time I could have had my own child, I was like, let me just look online. They listed the thing on Amazon. I tried buying it, and that is the product that's standing here. If you can even call this standing. I mean, this is actually how the thing arrived. Looking a lot less like roll order, a lot more like rolled over. But honestly, this just sucks as a company practice. Because clearly they've decided we didn't make as much money as we wanted to on Kickstarter, so they tried selling what stock they did have on Amazon, but while their paid supporters who have been sitting there right from the very beginning are still waiting for their product like a year later. Also, I'm not saying this just because I'm vexed right now, but this just wasn't worth it. The product itself, I would say, feels, blip. God damn it. I was going to say feels fine. It feels like a decent quality charger, but just with a bunch of small red flags. Like, for example, this retractable mechanism doesn't work all the time. Because you're pulling in the same direction that your plug face is, there's a pretty good chance that you will also pull the plug out in the process. It uses a USB-A port on the front, which is giving 2019. And I think most fundamentally, products like this have already been made by other companies, and I think they've done it better. So we're not exactly on a roll with Kickstarter right now, but let's keep track of the success rate, which so far is 0. But maybe the X cutter can save it. So this is the ultimate multifunctional box opener. Sounds a lot more like a Pokemon move to me. But that's not actually why I paid for it. I'm constantly, when I'm opening up boxes, accidentally also slicing the thing inside those boxes. But this is claiming to be a box opener that never cuts contents, which we have to test. So this is what you get for basically $40. Well, you can tell they didn't spend all of it on packaging. And inside is some ink. This is for the overlay pen on the other side of the thing, and then the cutter itself. The thing's apparently got 10 functions in one. Utility knife, saw, unpacking tools. Oh, that doesn't count. It's kind of like they ran out after number 4, but management said they needed 10 on their desk by tomorrow morning. Last time I checked, made of titanium is not a function. So first impression, the mechanism does feel very responsive. I really like that the blade automatically retracts unless you're actively holding it out. It makes the default setting it tucked away, which feels like a good safety feature. Although, to be fair, you can actually touch it with your fingers and it doesn't feel sharp. Okay, let's put their no cuts claim to the test. So there's 2 boxes here. Each one of them contains one of my rarest Pokemon cards. So, normal knife. That didn't feel good. And now, X cutter. Ooh, actually did a lot more dragging of the card inside. I'm not sure that was good for either. So, for the traditional knife, that's quite bad. There's a very blatant line right through the middle. And now the X cutter. Oh dear. I mean, it's not better. This is too much pain for one video. Okay, and then on the other side of the X cutter, we've got this redacting pen, which is made to basically conceal your address details before throwing out these boxes. Okay. I mean, yeah, it takes a little bit to get going, and you can kind of see how obscuring this ink actually is, but it's also not a one swipe and your problems disappear kind of situation. So is this actually straight up better than the $100 knife that I use for pretty much all of our unboxing so far? Or is the only thing this company has actually cut all corners? Let's keep it with us and see how it fares over the course of this video. So this one, I'm like bursting to get inside of. The Penicillin Apple Pencil Tips, which I get doesn't sound particularly interesting, except at the very start when I misread the name and I thought it would allow your Apple Pencil to start dispensing antibiotics on the fly. Then I looked at it properly and I realized, wait a sec, these guys are claiming to not just have made a better version of the Apple Pencil than like Apple themselves, with these replaceable tips that reduce slipping and noise, but also tips that can transition straight from writing on an iPad to writing on paper. So it comes in this very protected, almost homemade looking outer packaging. There's a ribbon on the outside. Let's get rid of that. Okay, there's another layer. Sticky tab on top. Jeez Louise, more security steps here than my bank account. All right, there we go. This is a very unique looking product. So this is what it's like to write with a normal Apple Pencil, and I really like it, to be honest. It's very hard to say when using this that there's like a problem that needs fixing. I guess you could say it's a little on the loud side. Okay, let's swap out the normal tip for a Penicillin hybrid tip. I mean, on the bright side, I wouldn't say that anything is particularly missing. On the downside, I also wouldn't say that this adds anything. Even though the tip is slimmer, it doesn't feel more accurate because of that. And if anything, my handwriting has actually gotten worse with this. But then this should be the crazy bit. So, a real piece of offline paper. And because this tip is made of a carbon composite material, I should be able to transition straight from writing on the iPad to writing on the paper. Holy cow, that actually works. That's like one of the coolest party tricks that I've ever seen a tech product do. But, and I hate to be this guy, is it actually a great pencil? So this style of ultra compact nib, which is not like a pencil that you can just keep sticking through a sharpener, it's never gonna be as bold. It kind of looks a little bit faint. It's got higher friction on the paper than a normal pencil, and also feels just like a little bit blunt. I'm curious if a normal eraser works. Kind of, not as well as I'd want it to. So to draw a conclusion, I think all things considered, this is a pretty good product, taking us to a 50% success rate so far. But I also wouldn't quite call it a best of both worlds. This one I thought was pretty cool. So 6 AC outlets, 4 USB ports, 15-watt charging, light sensor, portable Bluetooth speaker, magnetic wireless charger, wall mount for $49. Basically, someone made a real-life AliExpress listing. It's the weirdest thing because they've put out this full update. We wanted to take a moment to express our heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you. It's your support that's made all the difference and helped us reach this milestone. But then they didn't send the product. Did they forget that part of the process? And then the entire comment section is just people saying, where is it? I want a refund, give me an update please, and no one's getting anything back. It just feels crazy that this is the current best system for supporting upcoming products in 2025. So I've actually been on the hunt for the perfect sliders for quite a long time. I've been through Adidas, I've been through Nike, I've been through Crocs, and there's always something, either it like chafes your feet a little bit too much or it keeps coming off as you take your steps. And that's why I was also really drawn to this one. This is the most comfortable 3D printed shoe. I paid $69 for these, which first off, nice, but also that's a lot for a pair of sliders. So they're going to have to be quite mind-blowing to be worth that. Oh God, I'm having box cutter problems. Not a good start for this thing. The whole blade has just come out. Right, bear with me a sec while I try and piece this together. So the blade rests in here, the pen at the other end goes in there, and then this slots back in. Okay, well this does make it somewhat better, that at least when it does go wrong, everything seems designed to be fixable. So inside our shoebox, we got a branded tote bag. No way. A keyring, but it's like a tiny miniaturized version of the slippers I ordered. Actually, Drisha can use these. What a weird but cool extra. And then the shoes themselves. So here's the question on my mind. Why actually 3D print a shoe at all? Because on first glance, I was like, oh, maybe they'll like custom mold it to my exact feet shape, but they didn't do that. What these guys would say is the benefit of 3D printing is the ability to create this 3D lattice structure. Basically 360-degree breathability, washability, but then also the fact that the structure will kind of shift as you're walking on it to eliminate the pressure points that would build up as you're walking on a normal set of sliders, since they are just basically flat planks of solid plastic. So these are the best sliders that I have yet to find so far. And I'd say they're very comfortable. Like they're quite well contoured around my feet. They do make a little bit of noise, a light thud every time your foot hits the floor and a little bit squeaky. So now our 3D printed shoes. Ooh, that's different. I'm walking in 3D. No, but seriously, like, you absolutely feel the way that the structure moves. You can actually really feel the part of the shoe that you're exerting the most pressure on kind of flexing around that pressure, which feels good. Oh yeah, and they're also significantly quieter. This is actually so therapeutic. It's like there's 1,000 tiny, really soft springs just pushing me upwards with each step. It's kind of like I'm floating. The only thing is I have pretty wide feet, and so this part of the structure is digging into them a little bit, which is a problem they could have fixed if they actually did allow you to custom make them for your feet. But still, pretty mad that for a lot of people, I could actually see this being the ultimate slider. We didn't get this one, did we?
Nope.
Damn. So this is Solar Energy S, which to me sounds an awful lot like a low-level Dragon Quest spell, but in reality, it is a 40,000 milliamp hour power bank with the ability to unfold it, revealing a solar panel that can be used to charge it up. Am I disappointed that it didn't become a thing? Yes. Am I surprised? No. Like, not even in the slightest, even though the thing raised $40,000. Like, the number of times in a conversation someone has suggested to me, oh, we should make this thing solar powered because why not? It's free and it's always there. Endless. But the reality of solar is that, like, it's just too inefficient for day-to-day charging. And so I'm guessing they probably got far enough along in the process of this to realize that it sucked, and then also realize that without the solar charging, this product already exists. And the comment section is even more brutal. It looks like everyone's trying to invoke some sort of clause to get their money back under Kickstarter's terms of use, but I don't think it's gonna work. Kickstarter's current stance is very much like, if you have a problem, it's not our problem. So more like Solar Energy L. So that was $79 down the drain. Here's another $89, just gone. This one's particularly annoying just because of how cool it could have been. So it's a transparent display, but unlike the transparent TV that I've already reviewed before, this one has a dedicated space behind it, so it's kind of designed around what you're using that transparent TV to display. And this is one of those ones where it doesn't look like it's a scam. They say they're preparing to ship, even if they have had to remove the LED light strip from all units due to manufacturer issues. But how long? Everything's so vague on this platform that if you're someone who likes certainty like me, then it makes it very hard to, like, plan things around. So, I don't know, I kind of wish they'd be a little more transparent. But now we're really kicking things up. So this product had over $100,000 raised. The Python 140 watt mega charging hub, supposedly the charger reinvented. If I had a penny every time a company said that. Oh yeah, I remember why I backed this thing. So this charger, it really genuinely looks like the level 1000 Alpha Chad version of the Anker Cube that was like my favorite charger for a full 2 years. So this product came, but that's also not the least bit surprising because Python is already a very established company. I always find it a little bit weird when this happens, but you can also see why it makes sense. Like, even if you are a big company who knows there is demand for a product, why not also just list it on another platform where people can buy it? Especially if it's going to attract extra eyeballs like Kickstarter often does. And like, clearly it works. This product managed to hit 600% of its funding goal in 1 day. Anyway, right off the bat, hot damn, this is a cool finish. Whole thing looks almost holographic. Right. So one extra thing to bear in mind for this X cutter is it's also not going to prevent damage to boxes if you're cutting the plastic right on top of those boxes. One more sticky tab over here, and now we're in. It's always a bit of a lottery which side contains the goods and which one just has the cables. Well, let's go for this one. Yay! Oh, well, that's directly connected to the other half of the box. Oh. Why do I even bother? So it definitely doesn't have portability on its side. We've got one MagSafe connection up here, so that's for your phone, and that is completely adjustable. Same as the Anker Cube at this point. One thing I do really like is they give you one of these magnetic rings in the box. So I could attach this to the back of a phone that doesn't have magnets on and make anything MagSafe. Now, obviously, it's designed for more of a power user than this. You know, you've got 3 USB-C ports, you've got 2 big old main sockets on either side. This is made for someone who wants to power every single thing on their desk all at once. But I also can't help but feel like they could have learned a thing or two from this, because there is nothing here to be able to charge a set of earphones like you have embedded inside of the Anker. And while there is a charger for your watch that you can even unscrew, take out, put on your desk and use it to charge like that, and then you follow that up with a USB-A to C cable there, I'd actually argue that's more of a negative than a positive. Because with this kind of watch strap, you kind of have to remove it every time you want to charge your watch. And this is not a very elegant solution. So I would say the product is okay. It's exactly what it says on the tin and nothing more. But I would also say this is a prime example of one of the benefits that you do get on Kickstarter. That if a product you're backing does take off, there's a pretty good chance you're going to pay less than you would at retail. Like, I paid $99 for this one, and the RRP now is $179.99. Okay, two more that didn't arrive. The first is this $100 Foley smartphone expansion / new life partner, because one of those things definitely follows from the other. And why have they crossed out smartphone expansion? Like, did they change their mind halfway through? To be honest, I can kind of see why. The idea doesn't make any sense. It's like a power bank, but one that's also trying to become your second screen. So they built their own applications inside of this, like a dialer, like a remote control for your phone's camera, like a voice recorder, even maps. But like, not to be mean, but who asked? Like, is there a single person on this planet who's doing any of these things on their phone who's ever said, God, I just wish I could kick back and do this on my freaking power bank? Anyway, the latest update here is just, we're working hard for mass production. We still have some issues to solve. Yeah, you do. And then my second L was even more expensive. The Hootie AI pillow at $200, which just makes me really want to go lie down. Except I can't because I don't have my pillow. So the concept is this pillow stops you snoring, which is not in itself new. Like, you can already buy pre-existing pillows that detect snoring with a microphone and then move your head to fix it. But this was meant to be better because instead of a mic, it's using bone conduction, which should be more accurate because it's only going to pick up those noises if they're specifically coming from you, not like your rickety old fan in the corner. But again, in hindsight, looking at this listing, you can see the red flags.
A new generation of anti-snoring pillows helps you deal with snoring problems when you sleep.
The definition of like Adobe stock footage combined with text-to-speech engine.
HOOTII sleep aid anti.
They can't even say their own brand right. And it's not just the voice, it's like they never actually show a working demo of the app itself. The only thing they show is the pillow, but like, I understand how a pillow works. The only footage of the app in this trailer is footage of the app not working. These are the kinds of things you should be looking out for if you're deciding whether or not to back a project. This next one is almost 2 hours, which is about an hour quicker than most battery chargers. And it doesn't matter which way around that you put the batteries in, it can charge both orientations. Okay, look, so this is the app in action. It will tell you the exact battery percentage that each of the batteries that's currently charging is on. You can schedule the charging, and you can also switch between standard and fast charging. Oh, and then when you go fast, you can really hear the fan kick in. And then when the batteries are done charging, they should just fall down into this bottom section here, ready to collect and use again. I don't think when I bought this, I fully appreciated how cool that is. Because it's not just that this replaces all of your different battery chargers, this also replaces any kind of organization that you might normally have. And I love how easy they're making it to switch over from single-use batteries to rechargeables like this, because I mean, that's cheaper and it's better for the environment. So it's looking very good for the OLED. This is definitely a Hall of Fame contender, but let's see how it goes over the course of this video before we conclude. Right, are you ready to see the single most dead on arrival product to exist? So this, and I actually love the idea, is a portable rig that upgrades the Nintendo Switch from outputting in 720p to instead outputting at 1080 by adding in a new external display that basically tricks the Switch into thinking it's displaying on a TV. And it's not even just that, it makes the controllers feel a bit more controller-like, and it also improves the speakers. I actually think this thing could have killed if it launched in 2017. But the microsecond that the Nintendo Switch 2 was announced, this makes zero sense. I mean, that's 1080p with none of the hassle. It has better controllers, it has better speakers, along with about 100 other benefits. Here's the thing I'm finding really irritating about all of this though. If you go onto the updates, they have specifically said, 6 months ago by the way, thanks for all your support, we're going ahead with shipping as planned. But nothing. I've received nothing. So far at least, Kickstarter success rate is not looking great. And then I also backed this UMilli portable shower. I don't know why. I can't speak for year ago Aaron, but I spent $250 and this one says funding suspended, which is good in the sense that I didn't get charged, but still, feels a little UMilli-ating. In better news, this is the Unihertz Jellymax, which is apparently the world's smallest 5G smartphone. Although it says the smallest 5G smartphone with a question mark. So, is it? I actually doubt it, to be honest. Isn't this also on first glance a little bit baffling? In the sense that, why is it that one Kickstarter company can't seem to make a tub and a hose, and this one's out here making entire smartphones? And I feel like the answer to that is there's actually two very different types of companies on Kickstarter. There's the companies who I guess actually need the funding, and those are the ones for which clearly there's a very decent chance you'd never actually get the product. But then there's also this huge wave of companies like this Unihertz one who aren't like that, but just use the platform for extra visibility. So given how small they're bigging this phone up to be, the box is a little on the chunky side. Oh no, even more box cutter issues. It just can't seem to handle cutting things at anything but direct 90-degree angles. You know what, I think we've tested this enough. I don't think this box cutter is quite the revolution I was hoping it would be. Anyway, back to this phone. So we take the top layer off. Oh, okay, yeah, it's a bit bigger than I was expecting, and damn, why is it so thick? I mean, actually there is a case pre-installed on there, but even without that, these are very stodgy proportions. Okay, I stand by the stodginess comment, but at the same time, why is this like the most comfortable phone I've held in years? There's something about this shape that actually feels way more human hand designed than this shape. Holding both of these side by side makes you realize how much with a normal phone you're actually stretching out your palm. I also did get a pretty decent discount supporting on Kickstarter. Like I paid $259, but if you were to go onto the website and buy the phone now, you pay $330. So it's not just one of those discounts that's not really a discount that gets thrown around willy-nilly. And for $250, there's actually quite a lot going on here. Like very decent mid-range specs all around, pretty large 4,000 mAh battery, customizable key on the side, which you can make one press do one thing, a double press do another thing, and a 100 megapixel camera, which it does smell an awful lot like number bragging, but let's try it. So you take that and then take an iPhone 16 Pro Max. You have no spare hands. Okay, you take an iPhone 16 Pro Max. And then let's take the same shot on Jelly Baby over here. Oh wow, yeah. It's not quite there, is it? God, processing really is everything these days. So I would say there's nothing particularly mind-blowing about this, but it does what it says it would do without any major real red flags. So now, welcome to the next and thankfully final chapter of Aaron loses a ton of money. So I paid $289 for a wind tunnel, essentially a miniaturized version of what engineers would use to test the aerodynamics of cars and planes. And so this would allow you to do those same tests, but using model cars and planes. It got super delayed and then they started asking for more money, which happens on Kickstarter, so I just dipped. And then the Kung Fu Turtle. So this is one of those desktop robot pets that it feels like we see around all the time. It looks like this one will eventually be released, but it was meant to ship in November last year, so there's a point at which it becomes an L. I seem to remember a different Kung Fu Turtle who once said, there are no accidents, but this is one. Hey, look at that. If I want my battery, I just put a little pressure here. The Lean PixCut S1. So this is another one that raised almost $1 million, and we got this one, although we kind of had to get this one because they're sponsoring this video. And as far as sponsors go, I don't think we've ever had a cooler product, because this is essentially the first at-home machine in the world that can both print and cut any sticker that you want to make. So let's say that I wanted to keep people away from my sliders, because we are actually having a bit of a free-for-all situation in this house right now. Can it make me a label for it? Okay, let's see if that looks good to go. Make it. So first it prints, and it prints in multiple layers to make sure that each color comes out right. It applies a protective film onto the sticker. Oh, and then it just cuts. That is so incredibly satisfying. And so all I need to do now is to peel off the sticker and then stick it down. And the sticker quality feels really high. Like this X cutter isn't actually even scratching it. They're waterproof. I actually used this yesterday to print out my own dream phone skin. Moment of truth. Wow. I don't deserve this kind of power. Link below to check it out. Oh boy, I am so glad that this one came. So this is apparently the world's most compact full-range vibration speaker, which doesn't look like it's capable of very much at all. The company's saying that this is the best of everything because it uses vibration sound transfer technology to turn the surface that it's sitting on into the speaker instead of having its own specific inbuilt sound chamber, which makes the audio completely 360 degrees and the thing a lot more portable. So we peel the sticky pad off. That's going to just mean that you get the best possible connection with the surface you're putting it on. So part of the issue here is it's making everything on the table vibrate, which is adding a lot of interference. So that wasn't exactly a success, but let's try putting it on something else. Let's put it on the printer, because that's the interesting thing about this speaker. The way it works, it's going to sound completely different depending on what object it's sitting on. 1930s, is that you? I think too many moving parts there. Let's just pull up the best case scenario for this speaker. This IKEA cabinet has ended up being one of the most underrated investments we ever made. So you go on there, and then I open it up. So we've got a big wide sound chamber. Can we transition this off? Should we do something cool? The other aspect of this that they keep talking about is that the vibrations are meant to be soothing. They compare it to one of those singing bowls, and they even write here, healing through sound waves. But honestly, I feel like that's getting into the territory of buy this charger because the rounded corners bring serenity to your existence. Just buy a normal Bluetooth speaker. The price for them has come so low that you can get like amazing sound for like $30 to $50. Also, if you needed any more signs, it literally has BS written on the box. Sums up the average state of the Kickstarter product so far. Okay, we can actually keep that there because the next product is the Chroma Plane. It's a synthesizer played using pickups that interact with electromagnetic fields to create different signals. Or, to put that another way, these mad lads have gone and created an entirely new musical instrument. Yeah, so this right here is exactly what the X-Cutter was meant to save us from, but for now at least the knife feels like the lesser of two evils. All right, so at the very top, inspiration, machines, exploration. It's making me feel like I signed up to go to space, not paid a ton of money to sit in my basement waving magnets around. We got a little postcard with a thank you. See, it's these kinds of personal touches that I imagine is what Kickstarter buyers are seeking. And then here is our very unusual looking product. It's very funny. It looks like one of those old DVD players, much more than it looks like any musical instrument I've seen. Ooh. I'm gonna take you to a special place. What did he say? Not in a weird way. So the closer you get to these marked out dots, the louder the notes play. It's very therapeutic. And it's like, it's the most put together sounding experience for someone who's like never interacted with this instrument before. You give someone a cello for 5 minutes, it's not gonna sound like this. Kind of what I imagine heaven sounds like. Like a really good spa. Wait. Kevin is having connection issues. So one thing it's saying you can also do is feed in a song from your phone. That was magic. When did that appear? So the music's playing as I get closer to this one dot here, and then I can live remix that with all these other dots. It's not Martin Garrix, but you know, I think it's fair to say, I'm not the target market for this. I don't really know who the target market for this is, but this is exactly what it said on the tin. I knew what I was buying and it has delivered that. So it's one of those rare examples of a good product that isn't from one of those big companies and was made possible by Kickstarter and Kickstarter only. So we've had some pretty strange stories already. This is the strangest. So this is the gym pad bench. It's one of those all-in-one boxes that's trying to take over your entire gym. So we bought it for $1,399, by the way, and the thing did actually ship and arrive. So we're all Gucci, right? Well, here's the issue. This product doesn't work. It's kick-stopped, if you will. So the idea is this part is your bench. It's very comfortable, it feels good. You lift that up, and then inside, you have to push this part out, which is slightly confusing because it actually says pull, but there's nothing to pull. And then you get to lift up this dual pulley system. It does have a little bit of a homemade feel to it, which is not exactly what you want when you're buying equipment designed to test your limits. And the idea is you raise these to whatever height you want, depending on the exercise you're trying to do. Okay, so that's locked. This all feels really stiff and not in like an intentional way. And then pulling this system in various different ways is essentially what all of your exercises are based on, because underneath this, it's got a way to create magnetic resistance. So I wouldn't say there's anything particularly wrong with the concept of the product. It's just that we can't power the thing. We've tried like 5 different power sources that we know for sure are working. And if that wasn't already enough of a red flag, just look around the thing. Like these pulleys, for example, they're in the locked position. And now the entire bench is shaking too. The dial feels really horrible and plasticky. There's the fact that we specifically paid extra to have a rowing machine extension. Where is it? I have absolutely no idea. We thought we were getting weights, and like, it's not a crazy thought given that they're literally on the frickin' box. It's not even called the gym pad bench. They didn't even like deliver the name they said they were going to. Clearly they've run into some sort of trademarking issue, but the point is what I have received is branded Ado Pie. So I am just completely baffled that if this is the state of the product, why bother sending it? Like, why not just either take the time to finish it or like scam me properly? Did we spend $4,899 on a single Kickstarter product? Yes, we did. Should you spend $4,899 on a Kickstarter product? Probably not, but let's find out. So this is the B6 Swift laser engraver. It came to us in this massive box, which has, first of all, this big piece. This is the base and power supply. And then this smaller piece, which is the laser itself. I am a little overwhelmed by the possibilities here. In theory, this printer allows you to print anything onto pretty much anything. So just to give you an idea, yesterday we printed a Squirtle onto this dog tag, and look at it. The texturing, the detail, not to mention just how mad it is that you can actually print in color on a metal using nothing but a laser. Like, there's no ink here. It's just essentially controlling the temperature and therefore controlling the level of oxidation in the metal. One thing that would be absolutely crazy. So we've already printed a skin for a phone, but what if we can just print onto a phone? So you line the phone up. This is so freaking cool. So we've inputted the Mr. Who's the Boss logo, and it's using its measuring laser to show you exactly where that logo would appear on the body of this phone before you confirm it. The software as well is super advanced, but it's not made by this company. It's just general use laser engraver software. So 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my God, that is absolutely insane. It's like top 5 coolest tech products I've ever interacted with. This is really impressive. The only thing is, it looks like something about the texture on the back of this phone is kind of interfered with the cutting process, so it's not as precise as it could be. I want to do it again. Oh, this is the life. And that actually looks, wow, that's like a factory finish. There's actually nothing on the surface that would even imply it's been tampered with. But just to laser in on how absolutely insane this thing is, this laser is so powerful that it can also cut metal. So let's say, for example, I wanted to make a necklace for Drisha. Pull open a photo of everyone's favorite cat, chuck it into the computer to create a depth map so the laser knows how deep to cut. And now we give it like 2.5 hours and see what it comes up with. Until you end up with, oh my God. What the I can't actually wrap my head around how insanely detailed this is. My eyes aren't good enough. It's got to like a microscopic level with like every hair. It's like almost a bit too much detail. That right there has just rocked my world. This is one of those products that only 0.1% of the population should even consider buying, but its output is absolutely extraordinary. Deserving, I think, of Hall of Fame status. Now, obviously, it's not going to fit on the Hall of Fame, so we'll honor it instead. And then finally, what's the state of this O station?
Oh look, yeah, everything's at the bottom. So all of these batteries are now completely recharged.
But you want to see the coolest bit? This tray right here, in theory, yes it does, it has all the batteries that are either unable to be recharged or just straight up dead. It's not a perfect product, because obviously for a lot of people, the era of AAA batteries is kind of nearing its close. And also, this only does AAA batteries. So if you wanted to be fully covered, you'd need like 10 different versions of this one machine. But still, what a genius product idea that actually makes your life better. So the question is, do I back Kickstarter? I would say generally no. If you're just backing anything random that you like the look of, you've got a 50% chance of the product not arriving. And then even if it does, there's only like a 60% chance that it actually lives up to the lofty claims that the companies have had to make to have their product have a good chance of success on Kickstarter. Then if you are going for companies that have a great track record, then it can be an amazing way to get an actually sizable discount and the product before anyone else.